Hey guys, and welcome back to another lap guide here on the Coach Dave Academy YouTube channel. My name is Matt Emery. We're here for week 10 at the Long Beach circuit in the Porsche Cup car. Let's go on with the hot lap. So let's get into the hot lap guide then for the Long Beach circuit. So starting the lap off here then down towards turn one, just sticking as close as we can to the inside wall, just to shorten the distance to turn one. And then braking just in line with this 500 meter board. Well, it's not 500 meter board, but this 500 board on the right hand side. Making sure we don't cross into the pit lane, as you'll get a slowdown for that. So just watch out. Make sure you're not crossing that blue line on the right hand side. Then onto the brakes, down to second gear, and then just taking a bit of the curb on the inside. Obviously, this car is quite good over the curbs generally, so you can use the curbs quite a lot here, as you'll see around the lap. Then on the throttle as early as we can, again, just hugging the wall on the outsides, as close to it, and then making sure we're nice and straight for the braking zone for turn two. Keep the car nice and straight, trail all the way in, make sure you use all of the curb on the inside and a slight bit of the mounted bit, or the raised bit, sorry, the roundabout. And then back on the throttle as early as we can. Again, just trying to straighten up the car as much as we can. Straight to the car, easier to get the traction down. I'm just going to show you what this corner looks like in the Delta app, just as it's quite a tricky braking zone. So this is what the turn two looks like in the Delta app, guys. So as usual, we've got the good stuff here. We've got throttle, brake, steering, all the gears and things like that. So as I was saying, you want to keep the car nice and straight on the entry, just as you're getting your braking done. So you can see we've not got much steering angle here, and we've got about 50% on the brake. And then as we start turning the car into the right hander, you can see we also start releasing the brake pedal as well, and then trail all the way in until we get to the apex. And as we start straightening the car up again, we're getting on the throttle. You do have to mediate the throttle quite a lot on the exit, just as you're coming out of the right hand and then also immediately turning left. So it's very easy to get a bit of a snap on the exit. So just see how gently we're increasing the throttle pressure. And then once we've got the car nice and straight again, you can see we're 100% on the throttle. But anyway, back on with the hot lap. Hot lap then, down into the next corner, this right hander, very tricky on the way in. Got to get as close as you can to the wall on the outside. And then already on the brakes, make sure we use a lot of the inside curb as well. And then just ride along this wall on the left-hand side on the exit without touching it, get as close to it as possible. And then taking all the curb on the inside here. I see a lot of drivers only taking the slight bit of curb, but you can literally cut all of this inside section. And you can get a lot of lap time, using this curb. In other cars, in the Formula cars, for example, it is a bit more hit and miss with this one. But the Porsche just glides straight over the top of it. And then back on the throttle, make sure we're nice and straight on the exit. Pull it back to the right-hand side. The track opens slightly on the entry here. Just make sure we use all of the track that we can. Then on the brakes, just at the 300 board on the right-hand side. Down to second gear. Get as close again as we can to the inside wall. And then again, the track's nice and wide on the exit, so I can use all of that to our advantage. Pull it back to the left-hand side. And then it's slightly downhill, this one, so it is actually really easy to just lock up and go straight on here, or just slightly miss the apex. So you want to brake slightly earlier than you think here. You can't really see it from this angle, but it is slightly downhill. It just makes it a bit harder to stop the car. about 50% on the brake pedal initially, then just trailing all the way into the apex. Again, getting as close as we can to that wall, and by this point we should already be back on the throttle. Nice and straight in the exit again, get as close as we can to the exit wall. And then holding it to the left-hand side for this right-hander, braking nice and early in line with the 400 board on the left-hand side. About 60% on the brake pedal. Cut as much of the inside curb as you can, and then early on the throttle. Bring it back to the middle of the circuit. You don't want to be too far left against this wall, just as it's going to compromise the double left that's coming up. So make sure you're back in the middle of the circuit on the entry. And then don't really want to touch these, not sure what you call them, this curb on the inside. Don't really want to touch them too much, just as it's going to make the next corner, the left-hander, even more narrow. So just aiming for this painted curb. And then just feathering the throttle on the brake here, just to make sure the nose is getting turned in. And then trying to open this final corner up as much as possible. You don't want to use too much brake pressure. You can see down here, we're only about 30% or so. And that's just to make sure we don't lock up. As you're turning and braking, it's very easy to lock up the front right here. Just watch out for that one, and you want to be nice and wide on the entry and the way in, just to make sure we get a good exit. It's extremely hard to get the car turned in this car with this corner. So again, all our turning done nice and early on the apex. I mean, as I said, you've got to be nice and wide on the entry just to make sure we can get around it okay. Use all of the inside curb, and then you also want to use a bit of the throttle, just kick the rear end round for the exit. And again, use all of the exit track, and get as close as you can to that wall. And then that will complete a lap of the Long Beach circuit. So that was a hot lap guide then for the Long Beach circuit here for week 10 in the Porsche Cup car. My name's been Matt Emery here with Coach Dave Academy. Check out all the latest data packs on coachdaveacademy.com and all the latest hot lap guides here on this YouTube channel as well. But other than that, I will see you next week, guys, for week 11. So take care.